I'm very happy to welcome Nino Bergfeld from Salesforce here on our virtual sofa. You might think now Salesforce is probably not the typical company you expect in a digital signage or on a digital signage sofa. But Salesforce has a lot to offer, and I'm very happy to talk about what happens between the online, mobile, and the real world with Nino. So welcome, Nino.
Hey, Stefan. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. So
Perfect.
Nino, we are talking, or we have been talking about crisis for a very, very long time. And it's been said many, many times that the crisis actually accelerated a lot of developments. So from your perspective at Salesforce, where are we currently headed?
Sure. So yeah, that's what you hear everywhere. Crisis has accelerated everything, and for sure digitization. So I would say number one is clearly, if we say accelerated digitization, number one is the awareness to collect data, getting to know the consumers. Because yeah, many stores have been closed, as everyone knows, and it's hard to reach consumers, new consumers. So a lot of investment and a lot of discussions are going in that direction, getting to know consumers better, crafting strategies around how to engage them better, loyalty revamp. The old-fashioned loyalty card is pretty dated, and we see a lot of concepts and a lot of interest in that angle or from that perspective. Secondly, I would say the connectedness between digital and the physical world, the omnichannel concepts, and that's not new. Click and collect and all those services, but I would say the level of effort and the level of interest has risen tremendously since the first lockdown hit us, and all the adjacent projects, I would say, that are connected to that: inventory management and real-time inventory insights, mobile POS, everything that has to do with this connection between, as I said, digital and physical. And thirdly, I would say new forms of commerce. So again, forced by lockdown, new commerce experiences have been accelerated. They were there before, especially in Asia, like live shopping, one-to-many streaming. But also we see things like one-to-one streaming between store reps in a dark store, in an open store, in a closed store, reps in a service center that stream and talk to customers and try to sell more.
So that's a very, very broad spectrum of topics. So it seems like the store is far from being dead, but we see roles changing. And you mentioned the omnichannel, or the newer term united commerce word. How do you see that being accelerated in the crisis, and will we finally see it after the crisis?
Mm-hmm. I would say obviously in the crisis there was no offline, there was just online, and then only recently click and meet, curbside pickup, and so on has been reopened or launched. And I would say the level where we started, there was zero in store revenue and a lot in online. And I would say we go back to normal, but not at the same level as before. So if you look at delivery services, for example, in grocery, we saw a lot of interest and a lot from customers and a big uptick there. And that for sure will stay. Maybe not at the levels during COVID and lockdown, because people like actually to shop and discover things and find out new things in a store and stroll through the stores. But it will definitely not go away. So I would say the digital maturity is higher at brands, retailers. On the other hand, also at consumers. And I would say this is the new reality, and the rest needs to adapt and follow to this new reality, meaning more hybrid, more agile business models, more technology in store, that shows real-time inventory, for example, online, and then you can decide as a consumer, you want to pick it up in the store because you like to buy something else. You find a pair of shoes online, and you just go in store because you're looking for a pair of socks additionally, for example, and that's a lot of effort that needs to go into this in the backend.
Yeah, yes. But what you're describing to me a lot of times seems like individual solutions. It's like click and collect is learned now, and that there are other aspects to that omnichannel journey. But do you see it really as a unified journey from a customer perspective?
You mean if click and collect is unified and integrated into this journey?
No, it seems to me it's bits and pieces that are realized of that omni-channel dream. So for us, from a customer perspective, that we really can pick up our phone or use our computer at home, then use our mobile phone on our way into the city, and then really pick up the same journey in the store and choose at every point in that journey whatever kind of technology we want to use. That for me means really an omni-channel world. And what I'm seeing currently is bits and pieces of that, but not a real deep integration.
Yeah, okay, I got it. Yeah, I would say, I mean, as everything, this has also been accelerated, and retailers and brands don't have infinite budget. So I would say there's a priority. And maybe the priority for many is not here to make this online offline seamless, but they have, let's say, priorities that are at a much lower level but more crucial level, like for example getting to know the consumer, as I mentioned earlier, getting to know your siloed data across the silos. And then if you have fixed those, let's say, more essential problems, and you're able to understand how to engage the consumer better based on data, personalize better, then you need to make sure that this online offline journey is seamless. So it depends a little bit on also the sub-vertical. If you look at grocery versus luxury fashion, fast fashion, DIY, so they differ a little bit, but I agree. Yeah? So there are, especially in this COVID times, and if you look at one-to-many streaming or one-to-one streaming out of a store, there are a lot of islands created. But on the other hand, it's good because all of the retailers and brands are training this digital muscle. And if you would have thought 2 years ago that so many try out those new technology, you wouldn't have said or agreed. So I think that's important that you start trialing out and getting to know also new channels, how they behave. And you also have, it's not just a new channel, you have to also train your staff differently. You have new requirements to job profiles and so on. And it's important that the established organizations learn, I would say. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. So it will be a step-by-step approach because, as you rightfully say, so that budgets are limited. But we think there needs to be a common platform for all these different bits and pieces that eventually you make sure that they come together. And in that respect, we often talk about digital experience platforms. And where do you see that topic at Salesforce?
I would say, and that's our. I'm always preaching this platform idea because a platform or a technology platform allows you to move faster and build on a common set of services and building blocks, tools that allow you to get quickly to innovation. So I would say that's very important for brands and retailers in the future, to get a partner who offers a comprehensive and holistic platform, and not, as you mentioned earlier, those very niche products that you as a retailer or a brand have the duty then to integrate in a seamless customer journey, as you mentioned earlier. And the platform also fixes and helps you with a lot of big problems. Yeah, the data thing that we mentioned earlier is one on the customer end, but also on the inventory end. If you offer click and collect, for example, or ship from store. That's very fancy in the first step in the front end, but there's a lot of heavy plumbing in the back end that the platform helps you with: real-time inventory service, order management, and so on.
Yeah, and I think you're touching on a very, very important point here, because in digital signage, we tend to think about a lot about marketing and shiny front end. But really, to bring this integrated customer journeys to life, you also have to think a lot about the back end. And I don't think as a digital signage industry, we should purely focus on the shiny front end and everything that's connected to consumer screens to the front end, but also think a lot about really solving the back end issues. Do you have some examples there?
You mean in the digital? So I didn't understand which examples are you looking for?
What are we talking about when we talk about back-end solutions on these digital experience platforms?
Sorry, I'm not sure if I really understand what you.
Things like, yeah, you mentioned things like helping staff managing inventories, but then also connecting that information to front-end screens. Like, you don't promote things you don't actually have in store. Do you do things like that on your platform?
Yeah, so that's I mean, if you look at the new role of the store, as I see it, one of those elements is discovery, finding new products, and at the same time that this also changes a little bit the layout of the store and also the KPIs of a store. And at the same time, that also means maybe the completeness of inventory gets reduced in the store, and you rely much more on technology and omnichannel services like endless aisle. And if you show something to the customer, but you don't have it in the right size or in the right color or in a different flavor as the customer like, you just look it up on either a terminal or also very interested, or retailers and brands are very interested in iPads right now, or any handheld devices that help you solving that issue of counseling the consumer and making good recommendations, but then also not missing the link to sales and shipping the item from a different store or from a central distribution center. And that, again, that has a lot to do with understanding what is the inventory level of the neighbor store, of the central distribution center in real time. It has to do with order management, how to control the order. And once the customer said, yes, I like it, it has to do with payment. And that all has to go hand in hand and needs to be seamless for the customer in the store. I'm not sure if that was example enough.
Yes, and the way you described it, data plays a very crucial role in this whole, or in creating these journeys, because you need data from different sources, and you need to bring it together and actually use it at the right point. Can you just say a bit about how you think about data? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I mean, number one, very important is to understand the consumer and all the flavors to it. And I would say that's basic. Yeah, that's CRM, understanding the customer and all along the whole customer journey. That's number one. And then secondly, I would say that's everything that you can generate, because you get transactional data, you get behavioral data out of the customer, and then you can also look ahead. You can try to predict behavior, churn metrics, propensity scores to buy a certain category. So I would say that's a big bucket of data around the consumer, and then for sure you can use that data and reach out in a one-to-one manner to that customer and personalize every experience, change the website in real time, create a great customer service experience, and so on. But you can also use the data and aggregate and look at it from a, let's say, meta perspective, zoom out, and for example, use that information, that segment information, and optimize your store. Because if you understand, hey, I have a lot of female customers or a lot of young versus old customers in my store, you can optimize digital signage, the topic of today. But you need to understand actually how to gain and gather data, and then also how to aggregate it, and also how to bring it in a dashboard, and then also how to take a decision on it. So there are a lot of steps involved, I would say.
Yes. So I think, we could go on for much, much longer. I mean, we covered a lot of ground. So thank you very much. And we'll have next very, very exciting topic to talk about, and that's sustainability with Florian.